Hey there! This video has been months in the making. I had a clear vision at the beginning, but as I went, I kept changing my mind and second guessing and getting distracted. I had many moments where I felt like I did the wrong thing artistically, but just kept pushing through to see what would happen. So here's Knockturn Alley. I went through a couple design ideas for shape and layout of the Nook. Unlike Borgin Alley, I wanted this Nook to be focused around Borgin and Burkes, just one store. I had so much fun filling the windows of Borgin Alley, I wanted to push that a little farther and make the whole point of the Nook the window stuff, so positioning was key. I might make a few more videos about the window stuff, so please let me know if anything catches your eye. As always, I started with my two favorite materials, cardboard and foam. I wanted to make this a pointier version of the Borgin Alley Nook. One, to have some difference when they're next to each other, and two, pointier just feels more sinister. I really like having the very angled back wall. When it's on the shelf against the wall, it's the perfect hidden spot for the battery pack. Not sure why, but I opted for the thin 2mm foam on the walls and painted them to look textured like stone. I'm giving this Nook a distinctly Tudory vibe, and saw a couple buildings with this kind of stonework. I'm going to add more Tudory details later too, but that wasn't the original plan. I chose a really ornate cobblestone look I found on the internet because I feel like the people who constructed Knockturn Alley were a little bit bougie. Since it's a thick texture, I went with the 5mm foam. If you want to see more about the hand cramps that go into this pattern, check out my foam tutorial over here. For the window frames, I used a capsule delivery bag. Those things are really thin and really strong. I also made some shelves out of balsa wood for stability and to showcase the window stuff. I went a little overboard, especially since you won't see this well in the finished Nook, but I painted some sigils. Unlike Borgin Alley, I cut holes in the box for the windows. Because of the shape I'm going for, I knew it would be really hard to put the windows on after getting the shelves styled, so I had to create space to fill things from the back. I tried using my favorite window materials, which are cut-up takeout boxes, but it just didn't work the way I had hoped. It was really wrinkly and most of my small things weren't visible anymore. Instead, I used a purchased piece of plastic. I'm going to be using my metal straws all the time to pay for my eco-sins. I had been planning the cart since the beginning and was really excited about it. I made the body out of bits of balsa wood and tried to do the wheels from wood too, but it was just splintering too much, and I ended up making them out of trusty Super Sculpey instead. With a little paint and some 2mm foam for the wood shingles, it's ready for candles. It's going to be a cart that sells poison candles and other kinds of candles, like cursed candles. I'm especially fond of the way this little set turned out. They're my tiniest candles to date. For the Borgin and Burkes store, I started off making the shape out of Super Sculpey. It didn't come out as well as I hoped, so I redid it in balsa, kind of the opposite of the wheels. I wanted to give it a fancy window treatment, so I mixed up some black liquid Sculpey out of black clay and liquid Sculpey, who would have guessed, and put it in a tiny Ziploc bag to use as an icing bag. Once my icing lattice was complete, I baked it and filled the voids with a slightly green tinted UV resin. To finish off the look, I made a limestone door frame and grunged it up a little. Borgin doesn't really strike me as the kind of guy to clean. Looking at it though, it just felt incomplete. So it was time to make an awning. I made a whole tutorial about using a pasta box and some leftover napkins, so check it out if you're curious. Once that was done, I crammed it into place. Now for the whole reason behind this nook, the window stuff.
Behold! My stuff.
I started strong, creating lots of little things like the jewelry, the Canopic jars, a skull, and then I put them all in the windows and realized the sheer amount of window space I'd created. I like to push myself, but wow, this was kind of a lot. It took me so long to come up with all the things I wanted to make, and then actually make them all. Next time, remind me to make smaller windows. Or no windows. No windows would be great right now. I'm super proud of the Hand of Glory. I know I made an entire video about it, but I have to call it out again here. I tried sculpting a hand for the first time ever for this, and no, this is not it. Check out the other video if you want to see the embarrassment that was passing for a hand. I also realized that although I was really proud of it, once it was in the nook, you could only see one side. Sad. So I made an ornate mirror out of broken mirror bits for the sole purpose of showcasing it. Now I can happily admire my decrepit work. I made some apothecary jars and bottles out of resin, but since I didn't feel comfortable doing such a small amount of 2-part epoxy, I tried my best to make it work with UV. I think I'll definitely need a lot more practice, but it's fine because they're tucked away in corners with their good sides facing the front. My favorite one is here. It has some blooms from my Hoya Waieti. I also covered a couple of my coleus blossoms in resin to see if I could preserve them without official preservation materials. It didn't come out exactly as I hoped and they lost their purple color, but it's still really cool here. I felt like this side was really bare, so I started looking into some Tudor inspiration. I found this great street in Oxford and just virtually walked around until I found my muse. I love the simplicity and thought it would be a really good break in the wood and stone grayness. Oh yeah, I also did lights. I got this 5-volt Adafruit trinket a really long time ago, and since then a lot has changed. I had some issues getting the chip working and to get the Arduino IDE to actually upload, but it did not defeat me. I now have a flickering candle-like glow. I made the Knockturn Alley sign really early on, but was waiting to attach it until the very end since I wasn't sure about the placement. It was really satisfying to finally place it and feel like the nook was finished. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. As I started taking pictures, I realized there are no signs. I also realized I couldn't do a sign like I did for Ollivander's since it would cover my window stuff. So here we are. It's finally over. It only took me months. Quite a few months. I took a few artistic detours like the Spirited Away bathhouse I started on my first ever live stream, so it probably took longer than it would have if I actually focused. Or maybe it would have gone faster if my plan for the window stuff had been realistic. We'll never know, because I am bad at planning out my craft adventures. I really hope you all liked this project. If you did, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more tiny craft adventures. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one!